Monday, the 13th of November 2023. A very good morning to you and welcome to our Cabinet Committee briefing, coming to you live from the Government Communication Center or Government Information Center, pardon me, with me, Asteria and Jenja, and the rest of the production crew behind the scenes, making sure that we bring you the briefings from different OMAs. Good morning once again. I am joined in the studio by Honorable Minister of Defense and Veterans Affairs, Honorable Franz Kapofi, who will then be giving the briefing from his ministry on what are the plans or what is in the pipeline from the ministry, what are the projects that they are busy with, and the way forward. Welcome to the briefing. You can follow us on Facebook, that is at MICT in Namibia. You can also go to our YouTube channel. We are also live on NBC TV as well as NBC Radio. Thank you for joining us. Honorable Minister, you may take the podium.
Thank you.
The floor is yours, Honorable.
Thank you very much for inviting us here to the Government Information Center. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's my honor and pleasure to present to you a briefing on the activities carried out by the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs since April 1st, 2023 to date. At the onset, allow me to take you back to the genesis and the responsibilities of the Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs. The Ministry of Defense was established in 1990 in terms of Chapter 5, Article 32, 3G, to maintain and employ the Defense Force is provided for by the Constitution and the Defense Act. The maintenance function comprises recruiting, training, research and development, procurement, administration, logistical support, maintenance and medical care. The employment part, on the other hand, includes assessing the hostility threat or the hostile threat and evaluating the fighting capabilities of friends and enemies. It also includes strategical operational and logistical planning, as well as exercising command and control over the overall operational forces of the Defense Force. In March 2020, the Department of Veterans Affairs was integrated into the Ministry of Defense. As a result of this integration, the initiatives that are aimed at addressing the plight of the veterans of the National Liberation Struggle, including keeping the history of the National Liberation Struggle alive. I'm therefore going to inform you or the public on the activities that we have carried out this financial year related to conducting the defense of the country and addressing the plight of the veterans and the preservation of the liberation history. With regard to internal security, the provision and maintenance of internal security is generally the mandate of the Namibian Police Force. However, the Namibian Defense Force has a responsibility to provide them with support. During the period under review, the NDF and the NAMPOL have worked jointly in the maintenance of law and order. For example, they have worked hard together in the anti-poaching operations in some of our parks, like the Babwata National Park, Mangeti National Park, and of course, Etosha National Park. We have worked together with the Ministry of Environment and Tourism. As you know, we have had a lot of problems in the area of poaching, especially with our endangered species of rhino. And we have intercepted many of these people's activities, and a good number of them have been arrested and taken into custody. Also, the Defense Force has maintained its deployment in areas that we felt necessary for them to be in order to ensure the inviolability of the territorial integrity of Namibia. The ministry has also provided assistance to other civil authorities and civil powers in the provision of relief in times of disasters. We have had flood this year in the north. We took preventive measures to warn the authority in the country about the upcoming flood. We flew sorties into Angola, of course in collaboration with the Angolan authority, to making sure that we understand the magnitude of that flood. So thereafter, we continued to support these civil authorities with our capabilities, be it transport, ground transport, vehicles, or helicopters, to support those people who are affected by the floods. Currently, the government has declared drought, and we are busy. We are currently engaged. We've deployed our assets, especially our military vehicles, in support of these efforts of government. A good number of our vehicles and our drivers and support staff are currently engaged in this operation. During the time of need, we do support the Ministry of Health and Social Services by taking their health personnel in areas that are fairly very difficult to access, fly them there by helicopters, and in particular, the area so affected is Kunene. And we have been able, or the Minister of Health was able to reach and vaccinate those kids in need in those areas thanks to the Namibian Defense Force, Air Force. We train also, as we said, one of our priority, one of our activities, or very important aspect of our activity is training our soldiers to be able to be ready to face the challenges. We are now busy with our 17 intake, recruit intake. We have finished the 16th one. Those of you who were able to attend that parade of the the password parade a few months ago, you must have seen how well trained those people were. We are now busy. We are at the tail end of the next intake that will take place in the course of this year and the next. Bilaterally, we work with our neighbors in various activities, including training, in exchange information, and we have just concluded exercise Hangane 2 with our colleagues from Botswana. Hangane 1 took place already in Botswana last year or so. Now we have had Hangane 2 that took place in Omaheke recently, between the 15th and 30th of June this year. It was a very successful exercise where we jointly, our forces renovated 3 primary schools in that area. Our defense force, as an extension of our international commitment, are participating or is participating in the peacekeeping activities in the region and also far away from here. One of which is, for example, our participation in the operation in Mozambique, in the Cabo Delgado province of Mozambique, where we are battling the jihadists. We have our men there participating in that kind of operation. We also have people in participating in the United Nations operations in South Sudan, and of course, in Sudan itself. So, as you know, we are part of the international community, and where we can, we do participate, resource permit. As you know, we recently Namibia handed over the chairmanship of the organ troika of the SADC to the Republic of Zambia. Our president was the chair. And when a country is a chair, you have everything else related to that organization, related to the organ troika, is in your hands. So our chief of the defense force for the whole of last year and this year was coordinating the activities of member state of SADC in terms of military activities. He led missions into the DRC to determine or to inform or to collect the information as far as the situation in the East DRC is concerned. As you know, there are serious problems there. And SADC is considering deploying, but as a result, as a requirement, as a condition precedent, our leaders needed to be provided with information that will help them decide whether to deploy or not. That mission, our chief of the defense force had carried out that mission, of course, collaborating or coordinating with other CDFs of other countries or member states. And he has done so meticulously very well. Namibia is very proud of that. I I did mention that the Department of Veteran Affairs was incorporated in 2020 with the Ministry of Defense. Government has decided to support those men and women who participated in the struggle for Namibia's liberation, offering them various programs and support systems. And the Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs is actively engaged with these veterans. Many of you must have heard endless complaints of veterans seeking to get projects paid out, etc., etc. And with the resources that we get from government, those efforts are being made. And we are attending to many various needs of these veterans. Currently, we have over 27,000 veterans on our support system, meaning receiving some kind of allowances on a monthly basis. Of course, we do support veterans, especially those that need medical attention, where it is absolutely necessary that the state is unable and these veterans needed to be attended by medical or private medical institutions. The program, the ministry provides support where it is absolutely necessary. And of course, we are many a times are restrained by lack of resources, but we try wherever it is practically possible. We are also involved, of course, with the veterans in providing tombstones to sometimes funeral services to the passing of the veterans. We erect tombstones on the graves of the veterans that we bury. We would have liked to do these things at once, but many of the problems that faces the veterans at once, but the resources that we have are not such that we can do so. And of course, knowing that we are not the only ones that the government is looking after, and the resources of government are not necessarily limitless or limitless, we do appreciate the efforts being made by our government. As I conclude, I would like to say that the period under review was fairly very successful in terms of the activities of the NDF and, of course, our veterans. We will always be proud of our men and women in uniform for what they are doing. And I would like to assure our countrymen and women, or our country, that under the leadership of our Commander-in-Chief, President Geingob, the Cabinet, and indeed, of course, the National Assembly or Parliament, that the Namibian Defense Force is ready to undertake any mission that the country decides. I thought I have tried to provide some basics. Should there be questions, I'll be readily available to answer them. For now, I thank you for your attention.
Defense and Veterans Affairs, Honorable Franz Kapofi, for that insightful briefing on what the Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs is up to, or what they are busy with, what they have done, and what they're actually looking forward to giving the services to the Namibian people. I would like to ask if there are any questions from the members of the media on the floor. And if there is a question, please, you go to the podium and then you introduce yourself from where you are or where you're coming from, your name, where you're coming from, and then you pose your question.
Good morning. My name is Okhana Klache. I'm with the Namibian Sun newspaper. Minister, there was a recent meeting by the NECA, and there was a suggestion, or rather an opinion, that a change to the Veterans Act could ensure that more children of the liberation struggle could benefit from programs that government or that the ministry currently has. First question is, would the ministry at least look at some certain amendments just to ensure that more children of the liberation struggle are able to benefit from the programs that veterans themselves are currently benefiting from? And then there's the issue related, of course, to the August 26. There was $2.5 million that was paid over. The status thereof was that it was for projects. It appears, or it is alleged, that this monies are missing. Is there a probe into that from the side of the ministry? And if so, what is the status of the probe? And then also coupled to that was the issue of $200 million that was transferred again by August 26 without cabinet approval. What is your ministry looking into sort of to address these two matters? Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you, Honorable. You can give the answers.
Well, as far as NECA is concerned, we have heard of these requests, but so far the law that is pertaining deals with the veterans, not with the children of the liberation struggle. We will look into that, but as far as the current mandate is concerned, it deals solely with those ones. And if there will be a need to change the law, we will cross that bridge as we get there. For now, we leave it at that. The 2.5 that you have mentioned is an issue that we are dealing with. Actions are being taken, and we are pursuing those that are recipient of this money to make sure that we recover the money. Since this is issues related to investigation and probes and all those things, I thought it should suffice to say actions are being taken. The transfer of 200 million is not too clear to me. Transferred by August 26 without authorization. I cannot remember. I don't know what kind of money is that. My ED is here. Maybe ED will want to shed light whether there is something of that kind, because I don't know the 200 million transferred without government's authorization. I'm not sure about that. Maybe ED, is there something you want to?
Thank you, ED Shibute will give more clarity on that question.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. In fact, I want to state to the nation that there was ever a 200 million that was transferred to August 26 without authorization. I wish also to clarify that the amount that the people refers to as 200 million transferred to August 26 holding, that is payment for the defense headquarters. And those amounts are verified. There is certificate from the consultant that is dealing with the project, and there is nothing sinister about the transfer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Edi Shivute, for giving that clarity. Do we have any more questions from the floor? I do not see any hand up. I would also like to conclude that you have gotten your answers. Thank you so much. And in the absence of anything else, Honorable Minister, unless you have something else to add, otherwise we'll conclude our session.
Thank you. I like to thank the gentleman who asked the questions, and I thank the ED of the Ministry of Defense for clarifying that question, that this is money paid for the construction of the Ministry of Defense headquarters. There's nothing sinister about that. It's only that people will always want to see ills, even where they don't exist. Otherwise, thank you for the opportunity given to us.
Thank you so much. And that was your Cabinet Committee briefing from the Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs, given by Honorable Franz Kapofi. He is accompanied by his senior officials, Dr. Velamin Shivute, the Executive Director, Air Marshal Martin Pineas, Chief of the Namibian Defense Force, Major General Petrus Nathinge, Deputy Executive Director, Department Strategy Policy Plans and Coordination, as well as Colonel Ninda, Senior Staff Officer from the Human Resource. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to, again, another Cabinet briefing or Cabinet Committee briefing this week. For myself, Asteria and Ginger, the rest of the production crew, you have been briefed.